I struggled a lot with holding this perception of my life in a certain way. It was after my pregnancy that it really was harder for me to take the time, make the time to exercise. And, you know, obviously in a struggling marriage, adding a tiny human, breastfeeding, working full time, all of that was hard.
And that's what I look at running like today, is that even though this did technically stop me, I'm not stopping, you know, I'm still going. And it's, in that sense, there's a freedom, you know, in that sense, there's a world to be found, because you really can zone into that, you know, that gratitude, that like gratefulness.
I didn't think I could do this. I didn't think I had it in me. It completely changed my life in every facet in a positive way. This was not a New Year's resolution. This was a commitment to me to really enhance my life and take control of my life.
Whether it was running physically or being a wheelchair runner and pushed by their family, they participated and embraced whatever they had. And to me, that it was like, I have to embrace this moment. I have to take what they taught me about just living and channel it somehow. And so I just was like, okay, I'll run a marathon, sure.
And so I just found that for me, the 100-mile race was where I found the most soul searching. It was where I was able to look deep into myself, where it took every bit of who I thought I was and like stripped me down to the very core. You know, that part where you're like most vulnerable, and the part that you don't want to show people, you know, because you're too busy like putting on a happy face and, you know, telling everyone I'm okay and today's great. And it takes you there. And then you have to find out, how am I going to put myself back together?
I feel like since I was able to conquer this foot pain and this calf throbbing, I see things differently. I don't feel old. You know, I don't feel like age is catching up with me quicker than I was hoping that it would.
The life that I live now with loose skin compared to the life that I was basically just existing it when I was, you know, close to 400 pounds, I mean, it's night and day difference. Like if you asked me every single time, I would choose the loose skin over having the weight. Do what you find enjoyment out of, and you losing weight will come with that.
I had just finished a 100-mile race and a 50-mile race like a couple months before that. So of course I'm like, was it all the running I was doing? Like, why did this happen to me? Like, what's, you know, going on? And I just kind of used those tools that got me through those races to get me through this. I'm like, this was the hardest ultra I've ever done.
The GoPro gave out on me, and so I had to repeat it the next year, and I beat the world record. And then the other cool thing was I got to run New York City Marathon backwards, which was probably the most amazing thing ever. So I did that for Michael J. Fox Foundation, which is for Parkinson's, and it was pretty amazing. Took me 6 hours. My feet gave up on me once I hit Central Park. And then at mile 18, Michael J. Fox gave me a hug. And I didn't realize it was him. I thought it was maybe my brother, and I held on for dear life, and then I had to run. I'm like, sorry, Michael J. Fox, I gotta keep running.
As a parent, I realize even though he has a disability that he still has goals. He still has desires, and he still has the gusto to try and finish something if he really wanted to. So I couldn't treat him like, you know, he has a disability. I had to really treat him like, just like my other kids, just push him as much as he can and be a positive influence, and then also, you know, help him be positive towards other people.
When you have a vision, don't let no one ever take that away from you. And you just gotta go for it, by any means. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was something new that, like I said, nobody had really like ran in South Central like that. So we just decided we wanted to like build in that area because it was like special to us. We related to the people that lived there. So I just wanted it to be example in our community to, you know, run in the neighborhood, and it feels good when people give you that fist pump and like keep it going. You kind of give them that motivation.
So I choose happiness, and when you're happy, your energy is just fun. You're alive. You feel vibrant. the energy around you just amplified. And I said running is a big reason that made me happy, because I fell in love with this thing that I was deadly afraid of. But you gotta find internal happiness. Find something, not an object, not a person. Someone cannot make you happy. Because if you depend on that, on their bad day, what are you gonna do then?
So I was not a runner before. I actually hated running. It was not easy for me. I have asthma, and it was more torture than anything. And I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had some complications in delivery, and it left me initially paralyzed. And while the paralysis didn't last all too long, I was left without the use of my right leg from the knee down.
I think I slowly started transitioning back into athletics. Growing up playing basketball, running was the one thing I could do on my own. It's easy to just stop. Your mind tells you, what are we doing this for? Let's just stop. But I think that's what I like about it. I think I've spent so much time in my own head, in my situation, suffering, that I like to go back and try to put myself into similar situations where I feel uncomfortable, where I have to push my body. And I can just play in my head some of the things I've been through. And if it gets tough physically, I can surpass some of those feelings, because mentally I've been through so much worse.